I woke up this morning and it was a rude awakening. I woke up this morning in a panic, and I honestly haven't woken up in a panic in a really long time. And you know why I woke up in a panic this morning? Because I had to make a decision, and I was sitting with that decision and letting that decision fester inside of me because I wasn't sure what to do. And I wasn't sure what to do because I wasn't clear on how I was going to be able to say no. I wasn't clear on my power. I wasn't clear on my ability to trust myself. And when you lose the ability to trust yourself in making a decision, well, honey, that decision-making process can be hard. But that's how we operate through life, isn't it? We are taught to do the opposite of what our intuition tells us. You may hear people toss around sayings like, trust your gut, do what feels right. But a lot of times we do the complete opposite. And what we end up doing is we make a decision based on how other people feel, based on what we think will be okay for other people, based on the fact that we don't want to make other people upset. And so I woke up today feeling a lot of anxiety and a lot of panic. And it all resulted from the fact that I wasn't trusting myself. And I had to truly learn, Julia, girl, pull it together and trust yourself, honey. And I had to sit with that for a minute and think about where that was coming from. Why I was feeling anxiety, because honestly, I haven't felt anxiety in a long time. And it went back to my childhood. And you will find that the majority of the things that you struggle with go back to your childhood. So I had to check in with little Julia that lives right in here, in my gut, that gets anxious and excited and needs to be told it will be okay. I had to check in with that little Julia and say, what's going on, girl? And I was operating from a space of fear. I was operating from my old space of anxiety and worry. When I was a little girl, my mom used to say, oh, you're such a worrier. Sometimes people will place labels on us and we start to internalize those labels and we use those labels as our true stories. And we begin to live our lives out, play our lives out as if those labels define who we are and what we're all about. And it took me a really long time to unlearn those labels. I was taught growing up that you never miss school. You never take breaks. You keep working hard. And in school, that's what we're trained to do, right? We're trained to keep working hard so that by the time we are old, we can retire and enjoy the little part of our lives that we have left as older people. But what about right now? What about what's going on in our lives right now? How do we focus on making decisions that help us to live our lives right now, to live a life of happiness right now? Now we have all of this technology that will tell us that we are in control of everything, right? We have all this technology, right? From apps to iPhones to Androids that really rule our lives. You know, we make decisions based on this technology. We make decisions based on apps. We let these things like email, all of these things rule our lives, and we forget to trust ourselves. We forget to trust within. We have lost the ability to make decisions that are based on trusting within. And when that happens, we lose sight of what truly makes us human, right? When we're trusting apps and technology and we're looking for outside validation, we're looking for approval, we've judged our character on labels. We look for people to see how many followers they have on Instagram to see if we can trust them. We lose the ability to see what makes us human, and what makes us human at the core is love. That is what everything is about, love. Now, decisions can be made based on a lack of love, right? People make decisions based on what I should do, what I must do, what I have to do, or in the limited thinking of, this is the only way I can do that. But when we operate this way, from obligation, from shoulds and musts, we don't allow for love and creativity. When we think about the fact that we want to control everything through our technology, we want to try to, make every decision based on what technology tells us, we forget about the power of divine timing. We forget about the power of the universe. We forget about the beauty of what happens when we let go and we let God, when we let go and we let live, when we let go and we let thrive. You can have all the technology in the world, right? But there's still hurricanes. There's still tornadoes. There's still so much power in nature that spans way beyond any technological device. So when we make decisions that are based on outside approval, that are based on what other people are going to think, we are making decisions in fear. And that is where anxiety comes from. That's where anger comes from. That's where depression comes from. I know firsthand because I grew up making decisions for other people, and it caught up with me. It caught up with me so much so that I was so miserable in my 20s that I would drink alcohol so that I could numb myself enough so that I could live just a few more hours until I could fall asleep. I even got to the point where I started slipping alcohol into my coffee at 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock in the morning just so that I could have enough ammo to be able to go to work. Because I was making decisions, not for myself, but for others. I remember in college, there was this saying, and the saying was, there were two sayings. One was, sleep is for the weak, and the other one was, you can sleep when you're dead. And I believe these things. I used to work myself to the bone. And you know what happened? I carried that into my working life. And what happened when I did that? I was sick all of the time. And I couldn't figure out why. I would get sick, get earaches, get throat infections, all these things. And the real reason was because I wasn't able to look within to make a decision. I wasn't able to trust myself. So I want you to think about, what are the things that you've learned that have steered you away from being able to trust yourself when it comes to making a decision? What are the things in your life that are getting in the way of your ability to make a decision? What are the things in your life that are getting in the way of your ability to listen to within? This morning, I was reading this book, High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard. And it's an amazing book because in this book, he talks about how to motivate yourself, how to keep going, even when you don't know how. There was a quote in the book, and the quote, I wrote it down and I want to share it with you. The quote is, just because people want to put things on your plate because you're good doesn't mean you should let them, right? Just because people want to put things on your plate because you're good doesn't mean you should let them. And I had to sit with that for a moment, and I had to really think about that because it spoke so much to my childhood. I would say yes to so many things in my life because of the fact that I thought, well, I can do this. I am good at this, so I should do it. Or this person is asking me to do something, so I should do it. But I never learned whether I wanted to do it. You have to ask yourself when you're making a decision, do I want to do it? There's this term, fear of missing out, right? That you hear constantly, FOMO, fear of missing out. And you say you say yes to things because you're scared. If you say no, you're going to miss out on something. And that is the way I was starting to operate in my life. I was starting to say yes to everything because I didn't want to miss out on anything. And that's not really living, honey. It's not really living. You know, I could say all of the labels, all of the degrees that I have, that I've earned in my 20s, that I'm proud of. But you know what's sad about my 20s? I can't remember much of the memories from it. You know why I can't remember much of the memories? Because I was drinking so much that I wasn't living in the present. I was living for other people. So when I woke up this morning in a state of panic, I realized that I was starting to go back into that decision making for other people instead of listening to the voice within. And when I was sitting this morning and writing in my journal, I wrote out these mantras that I want to share with you. So I'm going to read them to you now. I trust myself. I choose myself. I believe in myself. I love myself. So when you think about making decisions today in your life, I want you to think about these mantras. And I'm going to say them again. I want you to say them with me, wherever you are, whether you say it in your mind or you say it out loud. I prefer that you say it out loud, but if you say it in your mind, that's okay too. I trust myself. I choose myself. I believe in myself, and I love myself. Let me say it one more time. I trust myself. I choose myself. I believe in myself, honey, and I love myself. The older that you get, the more you learn that life is about unlearning so much of what we've been taught as children. Life is about trusting instead of looking outside of ourselves. Life is about looking within instead of looking outside for outside validation. Life is not about labels. Life is about truths. When we operate from a place of wanting to get other people's approval in order to feel validated, to feel important, when we operate from a place of wanting to control everything because we are living in a mindset of scarcity, because we are living in fear and we make decisions based on those fears, that is selfish. It is selfish because we are not allowing for all the beauty that we can learn from within. We're not allowing for all the wonder and all the value that we can create if we just trust ourselves. Oprah says that there are no wrong paths in life. There are no wrong paths in life. Whatever you choose to decide, you have to know that if you're coming from a place of love and you're having the courage to believe in yourself, you will always make the right decision because you are trusting the voice within. And sometimes in our lives, because of all of the distractions like technology, like apps, like looking for outside validation, like how many views you have on Instagram, how many followers you have, how that can really affect you, all of that is a distraction. Remember that in order to truly live, you have to choose yourself first. You have to trust yourself first. You have to believe in yourself first. I had to learn that I was valuable enough, that I deserved to trust and listen to myself, that it wasn't about anything else outside of me but trusting inside of me. And I just want you to feel that. Feel that inside of yourself. Know that you are capable. Know that you are worth it. Know that any decision that you make, you will be okay. It's all about having faith. And faith, yeah, you don't know what's going to happen. But when you trust yourself, no matter what happens, there are no wrong paths. You're making the right choice. You can change your life because you can learn to trust yourself, believe in yourself, and love yourself enough to have the courage to choose you every time. And when you choose you, you're always on the right path. Thank you so much for listening. Have a beautiful, awesome, amazing day today. I appreciate you. This is my 27th speech. If it resonates with you, please leave me a comment or share the video. I love and appreciate you all for listening. Have a beautiful, amazing day. Remember, you can change your life. It all starts with you. And be the love always.